If Rory was born in the United States, I'd vote him for president.
I think I first saw this quote on Twitter or Instagram, and I had to track it down and see how in an interview with Will Zalatoris is Will Zalatoris pitching who he would vote for president. In this episode of Big Boy Pants Golf, we're going to deep dive Graham Bensinger's interview of Will Zalatoris. This interview took place before Will Zalatoris got his first win on the PGA Tour and before he blew out 2 vertebrae in his spine.
What will you do when you stop playing professionally?
It's weird that Graham Bensinger is asking Will Zalatoris what he's going to do when he stops playing golf competitively, considering that Will Zalatoris is only 26 years old.
I probably want to do something, like coaching, but, that's a long time down the road.
Will jinxes himself here, and even though he's only 26 years old, already just blew out 2 vertebrae in his spine. Having watched this interview a few more times to try and make some sense of it, Graham does need to take more of the blame. First, he's asking a 26-year-old what he intends to do when he retires, which obviously is way down the road. And then he does this.
No, but so something still in the sport, not like running your own investment fund.
Yeah.
Graham apparently didn't prep for this interview, and maybe that's why they're doing it in Will's car. So he suggests that Will continue doing something in golf rather than running an investment firm, as if a person can go from playing good golf to running an investment fund. Investment fund managers typically have high-level financial backgrounds, whereas Will graduated with a degree in psychology.
Exactly. It can't be that fun if all of them are asking me about golf.
This is a little bit odd because now Will is taking the ball and running with it. Apparently a lot of investment firm guys ask him about golf, maybe because Will Zalatoris is a PGA Tour professional. Also, I don't recall anyone saying that running an investment firm was fun.
But I mean, for me, it's like I've spent my whole life with this game, and
Will says that he spent his whole life with this game of golf and then makes the most unnatural pivot.
it even goes to this whole conversation that we've had about LIV.
And here's the pivot to the LIV Golf Tour.
Is like one of my favorite things that Rory McIlroy said was, the game doesn't belong to anyone.
If Rory said that the game doesn't belong to anyone, then wouldn't that mean that LIV should be given a space within the golf ecosystem?
It doesn't belong to our era, it doesn't belong to the future era, it doesn't belong to the guys before us.
It also doesn't belong to the PGA Tour.
It's our job to just make sure that we just make it the best thing we can possible. If Rory was born in the United States, I'd vote him for president.
So keep in mind that Will is able to pivot this hard off of the original question of what are you going to do after you finish playing golf to somehow interjecting that he thinks that Rory should be president. I was waiting for the part in the interview where Graham asks Will, how does it feel to come so close to winning so many majors? And Will simply responding, Billy Horschel should be vice president.
Because he's one of the most intelligent, well-spoken, introspective people I've ever met.
From Will's positive analysis of Rory, you'd have to think they're very tight friends and they know each other very well. And that Will has memorized the little speech that Rory has handwritten for all of them of the Players Advisory Council to say whenever any of these guys handle any questions from the media.
I loved him growing up, watching him play, but now that I've gotten to know him.
Awesome. So when Will was growing up, he had to admire Rory from afar. But now he's on the PGA Tour and he apparently hangs out with Rory all the time.
And see how he's been such a good, like you said, a custodian of the game. It's so cool.
Yes, Will. It's so cool that Rory, as a custodian of the game, is bringing screen golf to Monday nights.
Like, we're lucky to have a guy like that around.
Are you guys close?
Wait, Graham, you're going to ask Will, are you guys close, after he's told you how well he's gotten to know Rory and what a fantastic person Rory is?
I mean, enough that I, spent a little time and talked to him here or there, like see him in player dining.
Wait, you've only seen Rory here and there and talked to him in player dining? You probably get a lot of rounds of golfing with him, though.
But, like, we haven't played together yet.
Hold up. You don't ever really hang out with Rory, and you haven't even played a round of golf with him yet. Yet you can vouch for how great of a guy he is, and that you would vote for him for president?
But he's just... I'm being on the player advisory council and seeing
how much you have to kiss Rory's butt to get some of that PIP money?
his questions and seeing how just brilliant he is when it comes to looking out for the PGA Tour with everything that's gone on.
What brilliant questions did Rory ask other than how can we siphon more of the PGA Tour monies into the top 20 players' pockets? Is that looking out for the PGA Tour's best interests overall, or just the best interests of the top 20 or so players?
Like, he's just, I mean, he didn't go to college.
Please don't say because he didn't need to.
Because he didn't need to.
Cringy, I know, but it gets even worse. Will then follows this up with, Rory didn't get a Brazilian butt lift. Also, because he didn't need to.
Had all the attention on him at a very young age, kind of like Tiger.
Will should use his psychology background right now and answer, why is it when you say the name Tiger, you immediately start licking your lips?
Came out on fire and then goes through the down spurt, digs himself back out of it, comes back and wins another FedEx Cup. I mean, it's like, is FedEx going to be able to sponsor next year's FedEx Cup with the stock crashing? Surely at this point, Will stops laying it on so thick, right? He doesn't take a deep pause, look up and to the left, and then continue. And not to mention, he's one of the most level-headed, like I said, like he just thinks of the general interest.
This interview is going to be viewed as very suspicious if Will suddenly leads the PIP money list next year without having played any real golf. You know, pulling a Tiger.
Like, I guarantee you,
as long as you don't guarantee us that Rory McIlroy would be a great president, please continue.
75% of the guys on tour probably look at what Rory says and then they just try to put it in their own words just because it's just so well thought out and well said.
Big boy pants golf peoples at home. Which was worse? Pushing for the fact that Rory McIlroy should be president, or the 75% of golfers try to rephrase what Rory says because it's so good? To me, I might actually think that the 75% of PGA Tour players try to rephrase what Rory says because it's so good might actually be the crazier comment.
So he's always got my vote.
It's mind-boggling that Will Zalatoris would go so fanboy on Rory McIlroy this whole interview, at least this whole segment, to the point that Graham doesn't say a word. He just sits back and thinks, this is gold, this is what I needed. Some PGA Tour whack job just going nuts about Rory, despite the fact that this guy never played a round of golf with Rory, sees him at players dining once in a while, and that's the extent of their relationship. But don't forget, Will Zalatoris is a psychology major, and maybe this is some kind of mental warfare, because what he pitches about Tiger Woods really should be the strategy for the PGA Tour to have any chance of stopping the blood loss of players going to the LIV Golf Tour.
Like, Tiger could get a card if he wants to, but you know he's never going to take it, because that's who he is.
Yeah.
And it's like, selfishly, I'm like, get in the damn cart.
Will Zalatoris never stops man-crushing on other PGA Tour players. I'm betting you at some point he says, Justin Thomas, really good iron player, but more importantly, the most beautiful eyes on tour.
Tiger's built like a tight end. I mean, he's enormous.
It's all relative in Will's world. I think Will is 6'1", 143 pounds.
I mean, Tiger literally is, like, his upper body is
so juicy. You know you want to say so juicy.
like, he's just a massive human.
Tiger Woods is 6'1" tall and weighs 185 pounds. Most tight ends are generally around 6'4" tall and have a weight exceeding 254 pounds.
And no one's built like that out there on tour.
Graham, please make Will stop.
Like, he's the one.
Too late. Will's on a roll.
The part that amazes me is that he just has such a hard time walking, but man, he can still play some good golf.
And here we get to it. The low-key, soft pitch to have Tiger's main weakness nowadays removed.
Like, Tiger could get a cart if he wants to, but you know he's never going to take it.
Unless everyone bands together and encourages Tiger to ride a golf cart.
You know, because that's who he is.
Yeah.
And it's like, selfishly, I'm like, dude, get in the cart. I'm going to play with you.
Dude, get in the cart. I want to play with you. Another classic quote by Will Zalatoris. Now, as a psychology major, is he this low-key agent to talk about how great Rory is while simultaneously in the interview kind of low-key convincing us that maybe there is an option to bring Tiger back, and that's via a golf cart? What do you think at home? Should Tiger be allowed to ride a golf cart because he has a really messed up leg? Also, in the 1 or 2% case that Will Zalatoris isn't a Manchurian candidate for Jay Monahan and the PGA Tour, would you want a friend like Will? Or would a guy like Will simply creep you out